You have massive dreams. You can see exactly what you want to achieve, the career, the business, the life you're building in your mind. You spend hours researching, planning, imagining how good it will feel when you finally make it happen. And then you do nothing. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. The dreams stay dreams. People think you're lazy, unmotivated, all talk and no action. But neuroscience just revealed what's actually happening in your brain. You're not lacking ambition. You're experiencing something called paralysis by analysis combined with deep-rooted fear of failure. And understanding this changes everything. Let's start with something that's going to completely reframe how you see this pattern. Psychologist Dr. Tim Seikel at Carleton University studied ambitious procrastinators and found something remarkable. The gap between intention and action isn't about laziness. It's about what he calls temporal motivation theory. Your brain treats future rewards very differently than immediate costs. When you imagine your ambitious goal, your brain experiences genuine pleasure. The dopamine hits just from thinking about success. But when you face the actual work, the immediate discomfort, effort, and risk, your brain activates avoidance circuits. Here's what's profound. You're not unmotivated. You're getting motivation from the wrong source. You're getting your dopamine from fantasizing about success instead of from pursuing it. Your ambition isn't fake, it's just trapped in your imagination. Because here's what most people don't understand about ambitious inaction. It's not a willpower problem. Research from Dr. Fushia Siroa shows that chronic procrastination is fundamentally an emotion regulation problem, not a time management problem. When you think about actually starting your ambitious project, you experience what psychologists call task aversion anxiety. The task feels overwhelming. You imagine failing. You anticipate judgment, you fear not being good enough, and your brain does what brains do with threats. It avoids them. Every time you choose distraction over action, you're not being lazy. You're engaging in short-term mood repair. You're choosing the temporary relief of not facing your fear over the long-term benefit of pursuing your dream. But there's a perfectionism piece here that's absolutely critical. Dr. Thomas Curran's research on perfectionism reveals that ambitious people who do nothing often have what he calls paralytic perfectionism. You have incredibly high standards for yourself. When you imagine doing your ambitious project, you imagine doing it perfectly. And since you can't guarantee perfect execution, especially at the beginning when you're learning, you don't start at all. It's not that you don't care, it's that you care too much. You'd rather do nothing than do something imperfectly. Research shows this is a defense mechanism. If you never try, you never have to face the possibility that you're not as capable as you believe. Your inaction protects your self-concept. You can always tell yourself, I could do it if I tried, but if you try and fail, you lose that comforting story. And this explains something you've probably noticed but never understood. The bigger your ambition, the more paralyzed you become. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people are more likely to procrastinate on tasks they deem highly important and identity relevant. Why? Because the stakes feel higher. If you fail at something trivial, it doesn't threaten your self-concept. But if you fail at your big dream, the thing you've told everyone you want, the thing you've built your identity around, the psychological cost feels catastrophic. So you avoid it, not because you don't want it, but because you want it so desperately that the possibility of not achieving it feels unbearable. Here's something else researchers discovered that changes everything. Neuroscientist Dr. Jaak Panksepp found that the seeking system in your brain, the network that drives exploration and goal pursuit, activates strongly during planning and imagination. When you're researching your dream business or visualizing your success, your brain is literally getting a reward. You feel productive. You feel like you're doing something. But Dr. Roy Baumeister's research on implementation intentions shows that without concrete action steps, this mental activity is actually counterproductive. You're satisfying your ambition through fantasy, which reduces the motivational pressure to actually pursue it. You're not lazy. You're accidentally teaching your brain that imagining success feels as good as pursuing it. And here's the brutal truth they won't tell you in motivational posts. Ambition without action isn't ambition. It's daydreaming. And daydreaming feels safe because it costs nothing. It requires no vulnerability, no failure, no judgment, no proof that you might not be as capable as you believe. But here's what you need to understand. Every day you spend planning instead of doing, researching instead of trying, imagining instead of building, You're not preparing, you're hiding. You're using your intelligence to construct elaborate justifications for why now isn't the right time. I need to learn more first. I need the perfect plan. I need to wait until conditions are better. But the conditions will never be perfect. You will never feel completely ready. And the perfect plan doesn't exist. And here's what fear of failure actually reveals. You care deeply. You wouldn't be afraid if you didn't care. But you've made a critical error. You've confused caring about the outcome with needing to guarantee the outcome. You can care deeply about your dream and still accept that failure is possible. In fact, that's the only honest relationship with ambition, pursuing what matters, knowing you might not succeed. Research shows that people who achieve ambitious goals don't have less fear than you. They have the same fear. But they've learned something crucial. The fear doesn't go away through more planning. It doesn't decrease through more preparation. Fear only diminishes through action. The only way out is through. Here's the hard truth. Your ambitious inaction is a comfortable prison. You get to keep your dreams intact. You get to avoid the discomfort of trying. You get to tell yourself stories about what you'll do someday. But someday is killing you slowly. Every year you spend planning instead of doing is a year you don't get back. Every opportunity you pass because you're not ready yet is an opportunity that won't return. And the cruelest part? Future, you won't thank you for all this preparation. Future, you will wish you had started now. Messy and imperfect and scared. Comment, start. If you've been planning something for months or years that you're finally going to take the first step on this week, let's hold each other accountable. What's the one small action you're committing to?